Good evening. The Toronto Raptors lose to the Boston Celtics 117-94. I don't know how much X's and O's I'm going to be getting into in this game, if it's even really worth it. This was just a pathetic showing on so many fronts, so many levels. No Raptor, in my opinion, played well. Um, this was like a travesty of a game for like just watching this. I'm not super attached to like the Raptors, and I'm not like a super fan or whatever. I don't really care at the end of the day if they win or lose, but I hate watching games that are just fucking awful. This game was awful. This was an awful basketball game. Um, this was maybe the worst game I watched all year, and I just put this on Twitter. Like, this podcast may just descend into I'm in the aquarium. I might just drown myself in this aquarium right now because what I just saw was just as a consumer of a product was really disappointing. I'm pretty detached from the outcomes of these things, but my fuck, as a basketball enjoyer, like that was hard. I was just playing with my dog more than I was super focused on this one. So yeah, wow. Like where to even begin? We'll go through the whole roster. I thought everybody stunk. They just fucking stunk, man. There was that open gym with Darko, and he was like swearing all the time when things were good. So I assumed tonight there's going to be a lot of f bombs in the locker room. Precious stood out to me as uniquely awful. I don't understand. We'll get into this, but I do not understand either how they're using him or how he's choosing to play. And Will retweeted a thing I put out, a little video of the aquarium stuck, of like what Precious is doing on the perimeter, and in the thumbnail was obviously, kind of a funny moment where he just kind of walked in front of Dennis and like took a three and airballed it. Um, I'm like going through my brain right now. I can't remember a play on the perimeter that Precious like executed or did. And what I really don't understand, and I don't like, we're going to go through the whole roster. This is not blaming one person, but he was uniquely awful in this game. Like he was just, oh man. Yeah. And, show some love to Pascal and Jakob. I know these guys hang out a lot. I wonder if they ever talk about like how to creatively miss bunnies, because these two are these two make some special misses a foot from the rim, and they're both above like 6'10", 6'11". So just shocking. The only like highlight of this game, and I wrote it down as a potential like Raptor moment video, was Scotty Brown. I'm also very high right now. Scotty Brown, which is a nice sounding name, but Scotty Barnes stripped Jaylen Brown. Right when Jaylen went to the left, Scotty just grabbed it, and it's like Scotty knows that Jaylen doesn't have a left hand. So, but man, whoa, big fish. Speaking of Jaylen Brown, the only thing I can remember from this game is Precious like doing the thing on the perimeter where he just like sets 8 half screens instead of a solid screen. Like I'm gonna go okay, I'm gonna screen. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna no, okay. No, we're gonna screen. No, I'm not gonna. Okay, just. And the thing that drives me crazy about Precious is like the open gym episode, and maybe he was gassing this up, but he apparently grew up playing point guard. What are you doing on the perimeter? Like, oh my god, oh my fuck, it was wild. Just I can't believe it, man. Yeah, Jakob and Pascal just finding but yeah, this whole game to me, the only thing I remember in my brain is just like play after play after play of Jaylen Brown just like open dunks. I don't know how many open dunks Jaylen Brown got tonight, but that was like, and man, the Celtics took this game very seriously. What were they, up by 40, and they had Tatum and Brown in the game, and Joe Mazzulla challenging calls. Like they really wanted to win this game. Let's check the chat really quickly. Let's see what you folks are saying about this one. What are your thoughts? Tell me, and we'll get into some like more random. There were no X's and O's. I agree. If we don't come out, why is my fucking Zoom not working? This is so annoying. If we don't come out and beat the whatever, who is it? If we don't come out and beat them, but Patrick Beverly, weird game tonight. Not a good look. Yeah, I might have to rely on the chat later on for some banter. I'm lost for words a little bit. Like, I might need the box score here. Like, no Raptor jumps out at all in this game, and then looking at the box score, absolutely no Raptor jumps out to me. Like, they started off the game pretty good, and then we got the Malachi Precious subbing in, which I said should be illegal, but we here we are against the Boston Celtics. No Gary tonight, which hurts, but you get Malachi and Precious checking in, and the Raptors or the Celtics going to 13-0 run, or 14-0 run, sorry. And there was a play with Precious and Malachi on the perimeter where it just kind of showed everything of what was wrong with this. And you had Scotty in the first quarter reverting to some of his old mechanics. Some of those threes were very like flat, almost like aggressive line drives, and they just boom out. And then in the second quarter, 8:40 into the second quarter, he hit a three, and his mechanics were perfect, and you could see on his face he was like relieved, or like I don't know what the phrase is, but like relieved, or like, oh yeah, like that's how I'm need to be shooting. And so yeah, like nobody really nobody stood out in this game. I've got some thoughts on Gary's plantar fasciitis. And the Raptors go 1 for 8 for 3 in the first quarter, and it was really obvious that that was probably not going to be. It was going to be one of those Raptor games where the threes weren't falling, and then on the inside, you just had Pascal played pretty good like out of the gate, but then later on was just missing so many shots, lots of sloppy turnovers from him, sloppy, stinky game from pretty much like the starter crew. OG hit a couple shots late, but I don't know, like one of the worst games I've seen from him in a really long time. Definitely the worst game of the year for him. This was, I think, the worst game of the year for definitely a few people. And a lot of the Raptors threes that they were taking and missing were like early in the shot clock contested threes. And on the other side, the Celtics are an organization, unlike the Raptors, that value shooting. So they were hitting threes, and the Raptors, this is like the least amount of notes I've taken for a game. I was just disgusted with this game. The Raps go to a small ball lineup with Scotty as the center, and I didn't really understand that, but Precious was just playing so... It's not even poorly. It's like another planet. I know he's been injured and he hasn't been in, minus 12, 1 for 5 in 19 minutes. It's just, I don't know. He never seems to be like around the rim much. They don't really like, that's why I'm wondering, like, is this more coaching? Is this more him? But he seems to really want to be like more of that wing player. And I don't know. I haven't really seen it outside of that one stretch. Like, well, it feels like 25 years ago where he was hitting like 40% of his threes, and the threes I don't know. I don't want to say things that I don't know about, but like you hear about he's like the first guy in and the last guy out or whatever, but either he's not being empowered to do his thing, but this is the second coaching staff that he's just kind of looked like a mess under, and I can't really say that for any other player. Games like tonight, you wonder about the Jakob trade. The one kind of thought I had tonight was like, I understand getting a center, but like they desperately needed a center, and Messiah said like this is the guy they wanted. I mean, they drafted him, but like we never saw the lineup with another 7-footer. Like it was Precious and like Thad. So it just, I don't know. There's some games where like like Jakob's passing obviously is huge. His like hubness, I guess, like around the elbow, big fish, is important and like is desperately needed. A little bit of that Marc Gasol archetype, but his athleticism on a team like the Raptors that is kind of built for athleticism, it's not always the most seamless fit. But then you look at Precious, who's a crazy athlete, but it's also not a good fit. So I don't know. It's been the center position's a bit weird. I thought Grady in the first half, he had a really nice finish over Tatum. I thought Tatum blocked it. I thought like that sound I heard was Tatum blocking it, but I think Tatum hit the backboard or something. But that that was kind of the only was really the only highlight of the first half. Like it was pretty bare. Hard to beat a team that's just flat out better in every way, says Hermes Curry Bro. It's true. I mean, I could totally see the Celtics losing to the Nuggets in the finals this year. And without Miami going on that hot run, not to take anything away from them, but like Boston, got really close, obviously. And, I growing up in Vancouver, I don't have the same like hatred for a lot of the teams that like most Raptor fans do, but I've always hated the Celtics. Even back like Walker and Paul Pierce and stuff like that era, Rick Pitino, just like I always cheered against them, except maybe when they played the Lakers, like in the finals. It's pretty much the only time I've ever cheered for the Celtics. I like the Terry Rozier team that they had that 1 year or 2 years. But yeah, it pains me to say that this is like a solid. I think this is the fourth Celtics game I've watched this season. I watched the home opener. I watched them against the Timberwolves tonight, and then one other game. But yeah, they look the cool thing about the Celtics is their balance between defense and offense is really good. Like they're like so solid they're like a two-way player. The whole team is like a big two-way player. Like you've got these guys that can just gun threes. People were like, oh, they're going to miss Grant Williams. Are they? I don't know. I mean, Sam Hauser was just like soaking wet. Porzingis is soaking wet a lot of times from threes. I think Porzingis is really underrated. He's one of the like Bill Simmons media guys, pre-Celtics. Bill Simmons, Zach Lowe type of guys who just get like railed on by the main podcasters and everybody thinks that they suck. But like, man, I remember his pull-up threes in the bubble, man. Those were some of my favorite bubble moments, where Kristaps Porzingis pull-up threes against the Clippers before he got hurt. He's an underrated player. He's a great shooter. Not amazing at defense, but he seemed to be enough of a deterrent. There was no Rob Williams tonight. He's not on the team anymore. Al Horford, I don't remember any huge defensive plays at the rim from him. It's like mostly Porzingis, and the Raptors were kind of unable. I thought he absolutely cooked Jakob multiple times in this game, on multiple defense, on offense, on quickness, on shooting, on position, on finishing, like just completely outmatched him. Again, Jakob's top 10 center in the league, according to Masai. Really think his life would change with some yoga, even some foam rolling or some stretching, because what is the ceiling for this current team? I kind of don't like these questions because, like, I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball, but, like, I guess I have a hard time accepting that people want to hear my opinion. That's really the crux of it. The ceiling, I mean, I don't see them cracking the top three in the East. Is that controversial? Like, even 4 or 5, it's probably a bit of a stretch. I've seen, you've seen good things from them this year, though. So, like, it wouldn't be completely insane if they got. It would be a big story if the Raptors got the 5th or 4th seed. It would be like the story of if the Raptors got like the 3rd seed, that would be like the biggest story in the NBA. Darko would win Coach of the Year. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't really see it a lot of times. Precious. Fuck. THC Oil hitting. Need a THC Oil sponsor. Precious playing his own game in his head. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I don't. I've kind of been saying that for a while. I hate to compare like my opinions with others, but that's one that I think I'm like a little bit lower than the masses on, just in general. I mean, he's a fun player at times. Like, It's fun to make videos about once in a while. You know, he has some crazy plays. I think I've made like 8 or 9 videos about him. But in general, yeah, it is like it's got to be a mental thing because he's not doing the thing that he did last. So last year, everybody remembers this. He would get the ball on the perimeter, and he would do this thing that drove me fucking insane because it's so like just such a waste of time and silly. He hasn't done it this year at all, so thank God for that. Is he would catch the ball, and teams are sagging off of him because his hot 3-point shooting was only for that one stretch. Like teams are basically playing drop against him out on the 3-point line, and he would do this like sweep through and like jab. And it's like, who are you jabbing against? Your man is 12 feet away from you. Like, you're faking yourself out. There's nobody there. Like, it was just like robotic. And then he would just like drive like 300 kilometers an hour. And then his man would be there. And then he would just kick it out to the perimeter to Malachi with like 3 seconds left on the shot clock. He's not doing that this year. Now he's just running around the perimeter, setting the softest screens I've ever seen in my life. Like, and he's fucking huge and strong and has a solid lower. He has everything you would want in a screener. And he sets the softest ass screens I've ever fucking seen. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute fucking disgrace. Wow, I'm actually emotional about this. When Brown threw down the alley-oop and started flexing, I wanted to throw up. Jaylen Brown's a weird player. Like, sometimes his handle, his passing just looks so bad. And then other times it's just like, holy fuck, man. Like, he is obviously insanely talented. And yeah, I mean, wish he wasn't on the Celtics maybe, but Raptors were leading most of the first quarter. I didn't expect a beat down of this magnitude. And it was, you know, the last few games, the bench has been better. Gary obviously not being in this one hurts, but I thought the bench tonight, it was kind of what we've been used to earlier I guess we're still early in the year, but like beginning of the year when the bench would come in and it would just fall off a cliff. And that's kind of what happened tonight. Like it just fell off a cliff. And then on the other side, you've got Sam Hauser just like gunning threes. I'm just going to put this link on Twitter for a sec. Precious plays like a girl. I don't know what that means. You got to be more specific. That also seems like a generality that's not true. Yeah, this was a tough. Porzingis started playing good defense on the Wizards. It's definitely good enough to anchor a defense. Got to admit, I did not watch a ton of Wizards games last year, but that's what I've been hearing. He definitely seems more, what's the word, nimble, I guess, stronger on his feet. I think he had plantar fasciitis in the summer. He did actually. So that's what Gary has now. And as a plantar fasciitis struggler, whoa, big fish, myself, I have some thoughts and actually a bit of a conspiracy theory. I don't know why I'm like teasing this. Well, big stingray. Let me just talk about it now because there's not really that much to talk about. But I talked in one of the games, I mentioned that a lot of the times when Gary's like fucking up in transition or near the basket and he kind of is like flinging himself, he's turning his hips in really weird ways. And most of the time, plantar fasciitis is a result of weakness up the chain. And a lot of the times it's hips. And it looks like that could be what it is for Gary on how he turns his hips when he drives. And he like loses so much strength when he does that. I mean, that's just me guessing. But yeah, the plantar fascia, a lot of people get it. Itis. It's this like papery muscle on the bottom of your foot that's really just supposed to stabilize and not be. So when other things are weak, then it gets overworked and you can really only massage it out and make the other things around it and above it stronger. So, I don't know if he'll be playing through it. I know some people play through it. I think Embiid had it all last season and like played through it. I know when I'm playing basketball, like it doesn't really bother me that much, but then I'll wake up the next morning and I'll like feel like I'm like stepping on glass, but it only lasts for like a second. I got some socks that stretch my my feet out that I wear at night that are really good. Maybe get Gary some socks. Vegan grass. Precious spending too much time designing clothes and wine tasting. I don't know. I don't think so, but I do. I'm not gonna lie. I always cringe when I'm not gonna name any names, but when people just gush over these players out, like people are like, oh, Precious is he's so interesting. He's into wine. Oh my goodness. It's like, okay, I don't know. I think what he does on the basketball court, maybe not tonight, is a lot more interesting. I don't think that like, oh wow, he's into wine and he's into DJing. Okay, I really want to see what he's doing on the tables, man. Like, um, does he have any preset cut buttons? Like, is he beat matching? Like, how is he on vinyl? I want to know. I want to know how deep into this he is. Um, Plantar fasciitis effing hurts, bro. The plantars I had when I was 215 pounds, I couldn't even go to bed. Yeah, I'm not at that level, but that does sound brutal. I guess there's different degrees of it. That's why some people play through it, some people don't. It's a bitch though, man. I've had it for like a long ass time now, like over a year, and it just fucking keeps like flaring up. I think I've handled it, doing lots of stuff in the gym, lots of mobility stuff, lots of like trying to get my other muscles around it stronger. A lot of Victor Wembanyama, toe yoga sessions, trying to just, even right now, I'm like one of the best things you can do for anybody with plantar fasciitis that I've like learned is like sitting on a bed, sticking your foot out so your leg is like out like that, and then just pushing as hard as you can with your toes into the ground. If you have like a carpet or in a shoe, you don't want to do it straight onto like linoleum or laminate, but just doing that, like it's been that's been one of the most effective things for me, because when you're lifting and stuff and doing workouts, like you're not necessarily, and when you're playing basketball, when you're doing footwork, like a lot of the time your feet are out in front of you. But when you're squatting and deadlifting, you're like directly above the weight. So it's good to do things that have your feet kind of in different positions in relation to where your body is. But yeah, fuck, my plantar fasciitis is a bitch. CH, how is your beard not getting wet down there? Yeah, it is wet. I'm wet. I said at the beginning of this, I might drown myself in this aquarium after this game. Yeah, this was, to be honest, I kind of just blacked out in the second half. Like I wrote down like 3 things. Delano came in. So I don't know. So maybe someone can tell me this. Whoa. Hey there. At least these fish, I'd rather be one of these fish right now who didn't have to experience what I just experienced. But I think Delano, when he got to the Celtics, had number 43, and now he's got the 45. So did somebody give it to him? Was someone 45 before? Like, does anybody know what happened with that, with the 43 and the 45? He checked into this game. I don't think Svi was in this at all. Brissett wasn't in this. Again, they kept Tatum and Brown in up until 4 minutes left, up by like 80 points. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. Really important win. The Raptors, was this one of the in-season tournament games? But the court wasn't sexy, so I don't think it was. I joked that like I'm going to like fall off a bridge celebrating when the Raptors win the in-season tournament. So at least we still have that to potentially look forward to. Get Precious cultured ass in a gym. I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is for it, because all the reports, and I believe them, is he's like the first guy in the gym and the last guy to leave. I've heard so many people say that, to the point where like it has to be true. But I haven't, like, what has he added in? And again, this is limited. Small sample size. He's been injured, so maybe he wasn't like up to speed. But these are like things that he's doing that aren't really like fitness related or musculature related, or this is like mental. This is like basic perimeter pick and roll play. This is him stepping in front of Dennis Schroeder, a much better 3-point shooter, and just taking the 3 and airballing it. Like it's just, I've never seen two. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, 2 guys in a corner 3. I always feel like a douche when I say that, but if you haven't played basketball, that corner 3 area, people complain about all the time. That some people say, oh, we need to widen the courts because people are always stepping out of bounds. It's like a toothpick in between that. Him and Dennis somehow managed to both. And Dennis is like, what is going on? Like, it was just, I don't know, man. Like, that was so bizarre. I had to make that the thumbnail because I just like, that was a new one for me. I can't remember the last time I've seen 2 guys on the same team on offense both on the same corner three. Precious's foot, I'm gonna have to go back to the thumbnail, but I'm pretty sure like Precious's foot is like on top of, like, Dennis I think could have maybe gotten called for a foul for being in the landing area of that three. It's man, that was chaos. And not to single out a single guy. The whole team, need to give love to the whole team here. Let's go through the lineup. Pascal Siakam, the three continues to be a bit of a mirage. There's only been a couple of games where it seems to have been falling. He's 0 for 4 tonight from three. I know somebody in the chat a couple of games ago when I started talking about his mechanics on three said Pascal's shot was fine. I don't know what that means. His shot is fine. I think his shot is different from different places on the court. And I was specifically talking about his three. And to me, his three does not look fine. For the person that made that comment, when he's taking these threes, are you expecting them to go in? I'm not really. And I thought tonight, again, his mechanics just seem off. Like he didn't really do his 10-pull three tonight. But, like, his threes are not missing, like, front rim straight on. Like, they're pretty off a lot of the time when they miss. And it just doesn't seem like a natural shot for him. It just doesn't. Neither does at the rim. But I think in that, like, mid-range area and kind of the second box, which is a really important place on the floor, I feel like that's more his shot. But, yeah, 6 for 17 tonight, and only 4 of those were threes. A lot of those were at the rim. Him and Jakob hang out all the time. Do they just draw up diagrams on, like, how to creatively miss at the rim? Because, like, I don't know, man, they got to get the mic and drill going. Forget all the fancy drills in the Noah board. Just get the fucking mic and drill going. OG Anunoby, 3 for 13, minus 26. Again, worst OG game I've seen in definitely this season, definitely preseason, definitely play-in. Long time. That was bad. Did not shut down anybody tonight either on defense. Just seemed timid. Still got 8 threes off somehow. But yeah, just, I guess at least Siakam got 7 rebounds. Scotty, 10 points, 4 for 15, minus 28. Has Scotty ever been minus 28 before? Yeah, rough game. Like, again, in the first quarter there, the threes, the mechanics reverted back to last year. And luckily in the second quarter when he hit that three, that was a lot smoother. He had that look on his face of like, yes, like, these are the new mechanics, and obviously you're going to revert to old as you're growing and adjusting, because that's muscle memory. It's baked into your brain. But yeah, rough game. He had a crazy block. He just, like, absolutely erased, I think it was Holiday, sent it into, like, the 6th row like Tatum and Siakam did tonight. And yeah, Siakam, a few of his turnovers are just really sloppy, like really fucking sloppy. Like, disappointingly sloppy. Jakob Poeltl, 6 for 10, but I feel like those 4 misses were, like, right at the rim. Only 3 rebounds in 21 minutes for Jakob. And it's Porzingis. Oops. You cannot have 3 rebounds against Kristaps Porzingis. That's treachery. You know, Porzingis had 7, so that's just it's the lack of athleticism that I really think that Koloko is like would be like the perfect thing that they need. Just like somebody who's gonna provide rim protection. Doesn't really have the floater or like push shot game quite yet, it seems like, but will block shots, and most importantly, athletic, can run, can get up and down the court, can defend. They're really missing that. Like, he just has the IQ that Precious does not have, and Precious is in like his 4th year. I think Precious is really teetering. Like, he didn't get that contract extension, and I don't know how you could look at his body of work recently and be like, hell yeah, let's get this guy some minutes. He looks absolutely lost. Absolutely lost. He's not anywhere near the basket. There's so many plays. How many rebounds did he have tonight? Watch him have like 27 rebounds. Precious Achiuwa. Okay, 5 rebounds. It's not terrible. But no, my point still stands because no offensive rebounds. No offensive rebounds for Precious. Not one offensive rebound. Why? Because he's on the fucking perimeter. When he's the tallest guy that the Raptors have on the floor, he's nowhere near the rim. This is what I don't understand. There was one play where he finished, kind of got a pass to him, and he finished, and it was great. But there's so many times where, like, Dennis is, shooting, or Pascal is shooting, or whatever, and Precious is, like, in the corner, and he's playing center, and he's not getting the offensive rebound. It's 0 offensive rebounds. Okay, 5 defensive, great, but 0 offensive rebounds. And how are you supposed to crash the glass when you're at the 3-point line? And you're not a good 3-point shooter. I don't understand it. Please, somebody explain it to me. Please, somebody smarter than me, explain it to me. Grady needs to leave the joke to... whoa, I'm fucking out of it right now. No rhythm, Eric Wright. That's me right now. Eric Wright. Wild how off every Raptors seemed tonight. Yeah, it was... I'm disappointed in Grady. He should be more mature. All this funny joke ain't working. He's like 17 years old. I was stupid when I was 17. When he's like 18, I was fucking stupid back then. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I want to see Grady mix it up, get it into small. Is this the same guy? I need. Angelo's on a heater right now. Angelo wants Grady to leave the jokes at home and get into fights. Okay, that's. I'm just imagining Darko saying that to him. Darko, Grady, we want you to. No, I can't go straight into Serbian. Grady, вы понимаете по-русски? Скажите, пожалуйста. I know it's Russian, but sometimes I have to speak Russian to get into Serbian. I'm trying to get into Serbian accents that I can do a bit of Darko telling Grady to leave the jokes at home and to get into a brawl. That'll help your shot. Eric Wright, effort was there, defense was fine for the majority of the game, just 0 flow on offense. Precious gonna get 40 mil, 5 years if anything. 40 years, 5 mil. What's that? 80 year. I mean, yeah, maybe, probably. I don't know. It's tough, man. Who do you guys think is Eric Wright? Who do you guys think we should try going for to an offensive spark? Trent when he's back, letting OG get ISO reps, Grady from 3. Don't see a ton of options. Who should try to go for the offensive spark? Honestly, I don't know why they haven't done this, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but like, why not put Thad out as a non-center, non-garbage time? He can pass and rebound, and I feel like that's what the team needs. Need facilitators, rebounders, because the shooting is not probably going to be the sexiest, best thing. I think they really expected McDaniels to come in and be a shooter, and he really has not done that. So like hoping for the shooting off the bench. I mean, honestly, Malachi probably is definitely one of the better shooters off the bench. So maybe it's going to be giving him more. Here's a grammatically incorrect sentence. Giving him more or less on-ball duties, and if, for example, like here, I'm just spitballing this, you bring Thad in, he's a better facilitator, better passer, not at the center, and then you allow Malachi to have less playmaking responsibilities and more shooting responsibilities, because Malachi's, especially his 3-point shot, has looked good. That's one thing you can't really criticize Malachi about this season. So yeah, I would try to leverage that. Leverkai? I just said Levrakai. I need a THC sponsor. Leverage Malachi's shooting, especially in a lineup that desperately needs it. And the fish have gotten so disgusted. The fish are starting to leave. Exactly. Yeah. Eric Wright. Thad has great IQ. I think we need, not we, oh God, I just said we. I definitely think the team needs to value, not value, that's the wrong word, but yeah, I mean, I would go in, especially in these bench lineups where you've got Grady, who's a rookie, you've got Malachi, who's kind of inexperienced, you've got Precious, who again, no idea, just no idea. What I don't get it. And then Jalen McDaniels, who's also kind of newish. There's not a lot of IQ in that lineup. Like, there's not a ton of basketball brain juice. There's not a ton of white papers being written from that lineup. Whereas you bring Thad in, and Chris as well. Not like a super cerebral. I think you need more of that cerebralness, if that's a word. And that's like the one thing that I talked about before that Jakob really brings that's valuable, that, you really need in that starting lineup. Dennis tonight, kind of an off game from Dennis. I didn't think he was like horrible. Got to the free throw line quite a bit. 7 free throws, 7 for 7, 14 points. But yeah, he wasn't. I just remember him taking a three that was just like so short, like it almost airballed, and then it didn't feel like he had the juice either. It just like nobody had the juice tonight. Nobody was juicing in this. Grady maybe a little bit. I mean, Malachi 5 for 7, but minus 21. And again, I thought the energy dipped when he came in. But again, his shot, like he's 2 for 4 from 3 tonight. If I'm looking for little hacks and stuff to do off the bench, like how do I maximize this bench? I want Malachi shooting more than 4 threes off the bench, and I want Thad or whoever to get him the ball in positions where he can make those shots. Those 2 threes that Precious took, give them to Malachi. I think we're living like, how the championship, you get that hangover from the championship. I watched the Vancouver Canucks do that for like 7 years, and the Raptors to a little bit of an extent, but not really anymore. But like, I think either Precious or people are holding on to that spurt where he went hot from 3 and he was unguarded a lot of the times because people weren't like playing him like that. And maybe the 3 comes back, but honestly, like I don't have the Noah data, but his 3s are not missing by a little bit. They're long. They're like way long. They're just off. Like it's just off. A lot of variance in the missing. Holy fuck, Jason Tatum was plus 42 tonight. That's insane. Plus 42? Are you kidding me? That's wild, dude. Like, even Jaylen Brown was only plus 9? Wait, what? What? Hold the fucking phone. Okay, that is the weirdest stat. Okay, someone needs to explain this to me. Buried the lead here. That is the weirdest stat of the night. Jason Tatum plus 42, Jaylen Brown plus 9? The fuck does that work? 34 minutes, 32 minutes. Their minutes must have been really staggered then. That's wild. I want to rewatch this game just to see that, because that's can somebody tell me why? Can somebody tell me why that's really bothering me now? Scotty needs a tighter handle to run point. I mean, his handle is pretty good. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I don't think that's like a huge. I think with his handle sometimes, if I would only criticize like one thing, is he doesn't change direction that well as he's dribbling. Gary has this problem. I think Gary's gotten better at it. There's actually the best example of this is like, I don't know why this was burned into my brain. It was one of Gary's like highlight plays. It was against the Wizards. Raul. I know the R soft. Neto. Whoa, big fish. Game-winning 3. Gary went behind the back and kind of leaned into Neto, who flopped and then fell over. But when he went behind his back, like all his momentum stopped, and it kind of worked on that play. But I don't know if it was like the intention. But he does that in a lot of plays. He'll be going downhill, And then when he goes behind his back, like his momentum stops, and kind of Scotty does that sometimes too, like when he's changing direction. And that's a more advanced dribbling thing. So I mean, I'm not worried that he won't pick it up. OG definitely has not picked that up. To be devil's advocate or a pessimist, OG has not picked that up. Change of direction while dribbling is not, retaining fluidity and ease of movement and speed while changing direction. We talked about OG tonight, but yeah, he had a rough game. But yeah, the Celtics, it's good team beats bad team sometimes. Eric Wright, Eric's very active. I like this. What's your take on Darko so far? I like what he's done conceptually for the offense. Seems when they go away from it, they struggle. I think that's the hardest thing to assess coaching. Obviously, I like what he's done behind the scenes. That's pretty easy to judge. But I think he's going to do what Nick did in a much different way and maximize a very flawed roster. So I think if the Raptors have a poor season, I don't think you can really blame Darko that much. But if the Raptors get to like a 5 or 6 seed or something, you have to give him a lot of credit, I think. So it's a weird roster. Like, it's an organization that doesn't value shooting, like not really secretively. It's just, and with the way that the NBA is going, I mean, that's why I was kind of surprised that they drafted Grady, because it's like, that's his thing, is shooting. And I know they talk about like, oh, well, he's good at, cutting, and like there's a lot of players in the draft that were good at cutting. It just seemed like a shift in that philosophy. So maybe there is, maybe they will value it more. Oh yeah, one other thing. Otto Porter played tonight. I don't know if you guys knew that. I think he took 1 3. Otto Porter, 1 for 2 from 3 in 14 minutes. Talk about off the bench. Talking about, how did I miss that? Talking about how to maximize off the bench. Otto and Malachi in a combined, watch me do math on the fly, 23 and 14. What is 23 plus 14? Like 40 something, like 40-ish, say. In 37, I don't know, between 37 and 40 minutes to get 4 threes from Malachi, to get 6 threes up in like 40 minutes between those two. Need way more, especially with the lack of shooting off the bench, especially in a game where Gary's not here. So yeah, if you're asking how to maximize off the bench, I would get some playmakers around Otto and Malachi, and I would get them the ball to shoot. And that's me being Coach Darko. And I haven't seen that yet, really. Do you remember a game where Malachi and Otto shot a bunch of threes and were set up by like Thad and I don't remember that. So, but I'm just an idiot. Boston is the litmus test. Litmus test. I like that. Boston is the litmus test in this conference right now. Yeah, they're good, man. Like, they're built to fucking win games. I mean, they're not, Boston. Okay. Boston is like the antithesis of the Raptors in a lot of ways. Like, their roster is so balanced. Maybe a little bit weak in the center now, but for the most part, like, they kind of have everything. Like, they have I mean, they've got depth, they've got star power, they've got good defense, good offense, they can hit threes, they can drive, like, they're good at the rim, they're good from the perimeter. They're built very differently than the Raptors. Boston Celtics did not say, we're going to value being 6'9" above everything else. The Celtics did not do that. So I hate the 6'9" thing, man. I don't know if I've talked about this very much, but as a 5'9"-ish, 5'10" with shoes on, I just inherently am annoyed by the whole 6'9" philosophy of like, Well, you can't teach height, you know? Well, can you teach fucking dribbling a basketball? To be determined. Vegan grass. Why aren't the Raptors making a trade? I don't know. I don't even know what the. I don't want to do trade talk. It was all summer trade talk. Not that I did any of that, but I don't know. I'm me and the trade. I don't even know how to. Is the trade machine a website or like an app? I don't think I've ever used the trade machine. Maybe one day. Very weird roster. Lowest free throw percentage in the league. Boom. Eric is on a heater tonight again. Exactly. Great. What did they say tonight? It was like they're like 69% from the free throw line. That's like what Jakob should be shooting from the free throw line. If you're in the 60s, like what like championship or like deep playoff teams, I feel like it's usually like average like 83, 84. I mean, above that is really high, but like in the 60s from the free throw line. I mean, yeah, and the few, I know Gary was like 40% from there. I know Pascal's missed a bunch. OG's missed a bunch. It's funny because somebody asked Dylan Brooks about like his shooting, how his shot has gotten so much better now, and he credits the Noah system. And Adam's like, did he have a different like version of it? Did he have like did they do a software update that the Raptors missed? Because yeah, exactly. The free throw line percentage says it all. Like, this is not a team that values shooting. It's a team that values height. And to me, it was always like a Houston Rockets type of thing for me. Felt like without the James Harden star power, where it's like, we're just going to get a bunch of guys who are exactly 6'6". The Rockets vowed for shooting, which got them almost to the fucking finals, except for Chris Paul getting hurt and then the worst 3-point shooting. I was going to say unlucky 3-point shooting, but I don't really know. Side note, one thing I don't understand, maybe somebody smarter than me can clarify this for me. Analysts and news people, Blake Murphy says this all the time, where it's like opponent 3-point shooting is random. You know, I don't understand. How is that random? Aren't closeouts a part of that? Aren't how you cover the 3-point line a part of that? How you prioritize guarding the 3-point line? I don't understand how that would not be like, couldn't you apply that logic to anything, that anything is a variable? I don't understand that talking point. Can someone explain it to me that's smarter than me? I don't understand how opponent 3-point shooting is more luck than other statistics. It's a common talking point that I just hear all the time and I've never understood it. Scrambled eggs missed the game. That's if you recorded this, you probably don't have to watch it. How was Schroeder? I mean, he was okay. 3 for 7, -2, 14 points. Didn't really have none of the Raptors played well, so not even to single him out, but like didn't really have an impact. I can't really the only Schroeder play I can remember is him standing next to Precious as he shot as he airballed the 3. That's pretty much the only Schroeder moment I can remember. I think he biffed a bunny at one point. Schroeder will biff bunnies once in a while. I think he had a couple tonight, but like I don't think he was uniquely horrible tonight. But just not great. Vegan grass. Masai had to see Brad Stevens in the elevator every day in the bubble. Yeah, I don't even know what to think about Masai, man. Like, there's so many people in the front office, it seems like. And then even beyond that with the MLSE, like there's so many moving parts. Like, I don't even know what power Masai has or doesn't have, but based on what he's done in the past, something just seems weird to me. Like, something seems like somebody else is influencing things or they're in a disagreement, because yeah, this build is just weird. It's just a weird team. And yeah, I mean, maybe it works. There's been good games this season, but in general, it's very similar to the roster last year, and we all saw what happened last year. And I think even like coaching can really only go so far. And I don't think you could find anybody really who would come out and say like, this is a balanced roster that's built for where the NBA is in 2023. I don't know how if that's your opinion, I would love to give you 40 minutes to talk about like why you think that is, because but sports are weird. Like, weird things can happen. That's why you watch sports. Like, even tonight, they kept Tatum and Brown out there up 38 points, challenging calls. Like, sports, you never know. That's why you always got to watch, including you who scrambled eggs. You always got to watch. I forgot they had Delano. Yeah, they've got Delano. They got Svi. They've got Brissett. Bit of a Raptors throwback. I wish the Raptors like enjoyed players like Sam Hauser, just like, oh, he can just gun from three. That's useful. I mean, I guess they have Otto Porter, but Schroeder was nice. Okay. Masai is continuously not improving this team year after year. I like that Malachi's given real minutes. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's looked better than last year, and I think they need to leverage his shooting more off the bench, maybe not bringing the ball up every single time, or maybe bringing it up every single time and then moving off ball to what a ball don't stop, called him shades of a young Steph Curry. That's what Steph does. Brings the ball up, passes, cuts, gets open in other places. Would love to see a guy like that on the fucking elbow who's able to facilitate the Draymond Green archetype and do something like that off the bench. Like, they need to dry shit off the bench. Maybe that's my one criticism. Yeah, maybe I will criticize Darko. I will criticize Darko. I haven't seen a ton of that variability off the bench like that. Like, I haven't seen that plan executed where you've got Otto and Malachi taking a bunch of shots with guys who can facilitate them. But I already talked about that. So Masai thought a new coach would make them hit threes. Got rid of Fred without adding pieces, and now OG Pascal might walk for free. If that happens, that would further my conspiracy that the front office is just split. Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many, people grabbing for power, and unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, it is, comes with the paycheck that Masai is the guy that is going to have to take the hit on that if that does happen. But I think they're not that. I don't think that's like right around the corner yet. That's kind of there's time between then and now. I think there's other things to worry about. Like, I think there's bigger picture things to worry about than like individual pieces. I think just this whole idea of not valuing shooting, that's what it all comes down to for me. Like, that's the thing I just really dislike that the organization has done, is this idea that you can't teach height, but you can teach shooting. It's too galaxy brain for me. It's just too galaxy brain. I've been watching sports for too long. I'm just like, when does this work in sports? When are you going to reinvent shit? Like, come on. It rarely happens. Like 04 Pistons. I think the 04 Pistons did more to... The 04 Pistons might have done more damage than any other championship, because then teams were like, oh, we can just have no shooters outside of like Tayshaun Prince. And I know Chauncey Billups Mr. Big Shot, but like it wasn't really a super gunner. We can just roll out with a bunch of big guys, get a bunch of rebounds and team basketball or whatever. And but that happens every 25 years or something. Like, I just think you're so much better off building a balanced roster than trying to do some like reinvention of some, I don't know. It's silly to me. And it really shows in a game like tonight. The yak split working in the first quarter. Kelly Oubre was hit by a car. Is that a metaphor or something? They're so far removed from reality that these things can happen to them. Okay, is that real? Also would I'm so nervous and focused on the fucking thing in front of me. I'm sorry if I lack empathy. Would also like your take on us picking random veterans as if we're working towards a deep playoff run. I mean, yeah, the random veterans is kind of weird, but at the same time, but I guess you have Pascal and Jakob there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm kind of saying like you want to avoid a Steven Silas Houston situation where you got a bunch of young guys and nobody. But yeah, I mean, to that point, if you have Jakob and Pascal there, like those guys are kind of vets at this point. So yeah, having Thad, Temple, and who else? I don't know. But yeah, maybe. I mean, but who else are they going to? I don't know. Who else are they going to put me in? Were they going to put me in the game? Get David Johnson? Like, who are they getting? Who are the Raptors bringing into this to fix it? I don't know. Like, if you get rid of Thad and Garrett Temple, fucking, MSLEFO, like, shooters don't grow on trees. I'm sorry to tell you that. There's more fucking 6'9" people that can't shoot than, like, solid shooters. I'm sorry. Like, sure, you can't teach height, but the shooting skill, in my opinion, is more valuable. That's my hot take. I think I'm kind of running out of steam here. Uber hit by cars in hospital. Damn. Not considered season ending. Well, that's good. Okay. I think on that note, I think that's a good place spiritually to close things down. Tony Wonder Award goes to Jason Tatum for being plus 42 when Jaylen Brown was plus 9. Again, if anybody in the chat can tell me how that's possible, once again, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, how are they that different? How were they that staggered? Both of them came out during garbage time. That's like breaking my brain. Jason Tatum, 34 minutes plus 42. Jaylen Brown, 32 minutes plus 9. Like, that has to be a mistake. Yeah, time to wrap it up. I agree. And Veal Award again goes to Thad. I mean, he came out for garbage time, but I want to see him as a non-center facilitating shit. But yeah, that was the game, and it sucked because there had been a bit of a break. There's only been 2 Raptor games in like the past week, it feels like. And one of them was super cathartic and like one that I wanted to rewatch a bunch of times. And then tonight was the opposite of that. Big fish. Got a Luka video coming out tomorrow. Luka and the ref with a side plot of Grant Williams, Dennis Schroeder. A game of unrequited love. Leave it at that. A lot of awkward, bit of awkward touching. A lot of awkward touching in the game. So that's important to slow down, magnify, overblow, joke, make inferences, piss people off, piss off Mark Schindler, who called me a junior high student today, subtweeted that. So the mainstream folks, they don't like what's happening. What else? That's pretty much it. Any final things in the chat? Any final thoughts? Final notes? It's possible. Hopefully Raptors don't lose to the Wizards. That would suck. That would be tough because the only good thing about that would be that I could maybe make another Jordan Poole video, which I think I figured something out with YouTube Shorts with the algo. So if there's another Jordan Poole Raptors thing, that could be good for me, but probably be better if Jordan Poole does something stupid. Yeah. Is that who they're playing next? I don't even know. I'd like to see them grab some Shaden Sharp prospects. That's easier said than done. Good night, my brother's in shambles. Yeah, I'm just going to go drown myself in this aquarium like I promised earlier. So, yeah, good night, folks.